Look at how my fish shirt looks in the...
Alright, we should be going now.
Are we live?
We are live.
Did we miss all that good talk about the sun? Dude, I gotta get a setup like this. This is such a...
Dude, it's a bitch to fucking make everything work together.
Yeah, I know, and I'm too stupid to do it.
Because it's like, this computer here just streams, this one games, and then you got the PS4 and the Xbox One over there. All the outputs from the stream get put here, including consoles. Wow. But the video's not the hardest part. It's the audio.
Yes. Trying
to get everything to go. And it's great because Xbox will play to your headset and through the speakers.
Yeah.
So then you can just mute the monitor, but the sound's still going through the HDMI.
Nice.
The computer was a little bit trickier, but I had this software through Elgato, the capture card company, that just lists everything that's plugged in, everything that makes sounds, and you just plug in where it wants to go. It's easy. Okay. The PlayStation 4, biggest bitch on the face of the fucking planet.
I believe that.
So basically I had to buy this chat link cable.
Well,
it plugs into the bottom of the controller. The headset plugs into the cord. The cord can't plug into the microphone in on the computer. It's got to get ran through my USB mixing board.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. I just do an iPhone. And if the audio's crap, we just live in that world.
That's
the world we live in. That's my new thing is if something's not good, I just go, yeah, well, you don't deserve better.
Right.
If it's not good, this is what you get. Do you want
better?
What
you paid for.
You don't get better. Nobody
paid $500. That's what you paid for.
Exactly.
So I saw on your Facebook that you've been hitting a lot of different concerts.
I got a problem.
Going all over the place.
I got a problem.
Can you estimate how many concerts you've been to in just?
Well, I know I've been to 86 Fish shows.
Just this year? Or
No. Probably this year. Probably 16 Fish shows this year. But this is not good stuff to talk about because it's not good to do that.
We got to build some reference.
That way. It's not good to do it. It's not good to live your life that way.
And now, if somebody had never seen a concert before.
If I'm a blind person, so I got to describe. Describe
how many people are around you? No, which venue would you say would be if you were only going to see one concert in your life?
So
what
there's
venue?
You got your legendary venues. You know the Gorge Amphitheater in Washington.
Okay.
You pull a picture of that up for your own reference. Are you familiar with the Gorge?
I don't have the video.
Just imagine a venue that looks like the Gorge.
So is it in a gorge?
So it's
same way Denver's Red Rock.
It's behind it is like the Grand Canyon. So you got a stage with it's just like 4 poles holding up the top, so you can see past the stage. It's just the Grand Canyon behind a venue, and you're on this grassy hill.
Wow.
And they have camping that's walking distance from there. And when I saw Fish there, we did a 3-night run in 2018, and we showed up, and there were all these cars parked there, and we were just waiting to get in. And, everybody's just, having a good time, cracking beers, waiting in line.
Right.
And we're talking with these people. We're like, yeah, we're so lucky we got camping passes. The dude goes, oh, I don't even have camping passes. He goes, I just show up and they let me in. It's like, really? And we get there, and it literally is no rules, no sanctions. He just showed up. I look at the dude's license plate. His tag's expired in 2007. Wow. I was like, this dude is going around saying expired tags.
He just lives his own rules.
Just doing his own life,
Now, with all these venues, getting everything in, do you have a system down of how this all works?
And this is all, disclaimer, this is all fictional stories for entertainment purposes.
Right,
this
absolutely.
is real. It's, legally speaking.
Just a couple of writers spitballing a screenplay.
I'm making up all these stories. But I saw Fish in Pittsburgh a couple days ago,
Okay.
And this serious hippie wook was in front of me. And Fish is usually pretty good about picking venues that are very relaxed on the rules because Fish crowd's a very unique group of people that like to enjoy themselves. They like the finer things in life. Right. And so they usually pick venues that are kind of relaxed on the security. But this show was some college near downtown Pittsburgh. I don't even know the college. But the guy was going in, and they took his pack of cigarettes, opened it up, and I watched this security guard just one at a time pull out these fatties. Just one at a time. And just so dramatic, too. It was just like, ting! It was like a ting! And I just saw him, his face was melting with every one. And he's like, Bro, come on. These were fatties, dude. These were like Sharpie fatties. And she just popped 3 of them out, gave him his cigarettes back, and he was like, oh, and I said, bro, put them in your sock, dude. I was like, dude, it's all, everything goes in the sock. They'll never look at your socks.
Nobody wants to touch feet.
No, well, now hold on. You got that one freak that's like, all right, take the socks off.
Let me see your hair knuckles.
So I see now I just blew my own cover by being on this and announcing it to the world. Check his socks.
Check them. So, like, I know, like, I feel like our buddy Sean, he's always like, never buy tickets in advance. Just scalp them at the venue. You can talk people down.
You can, I mean, but if you're traveling...
It's a big gamble.
With Fish, you don't know if it's going to be a hard sellout, and you don't know if you're going to be able to find tickets outside. Now, I know people that are like, oh, I'll just try to get in if I don't, no big deal, because the lot is as much fun as the concert. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, back in the days of the dead, you'd have 30,000 people inside and 30,000 people outside, you know, just living their best life and, you know.
Right.
You know, having a good time. But if I'm traveling, like, a distance, I don't care. I'll spend the little extra it takes to just have the security of knowing I'm
peace of mind.
I'm not taking chances. Not with Fish.
Do you have like the easiest method of getting in, like a time that you go to?
So you got the thing is, Fish might be the biggest band right now.
Okay.
Probably yes, and then you go, oh, U2 sold more tickets. Yeah, but then you got to see U2.
Well, I feel like the following for Fish is in greater demand because every performance is unique. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, are you going to see, like, the cool stage and then the same songs? Whereas with this...
And they've got rare songs where they'll bust out, you know. They just did a fall tour this year. And Pittsburgh was smack dab in the middle. They did 3 shows before that. Well, technically they did 4 shows before that and then did 3 shows after. And they didn't repeat a single song.
Really?
So if you did the whole tour, you got what was it? I think 200. I think it was like, I could be wrong on this. I think it was like 206 unique songs.
Jeez.
Played sloppily. It was some sloppy playing.
A lot to remember.
Well, yeah, and you know you just appreciate the effort. And if you're sitting there complaining about them not hitting it 100%, you're missing the whole point.
Right.
Of the experience. But I want to tell you about venues because this year, I knocked off all the venues on my bucket list. I did a show at Red Rocks, which took me 10 years, you know, to get to Red Rocks finally. So I saw a show at Red Rocks, and there's this new venue that I went to that just opened, and you're not going to believe this, dude. I think it opened this year. I'm not positive. It might have been last year, but it's called The Caverns, and it's probably an hour and a half outside of downtown Nashville. It's a 1,000-seat venue in a cave.
Oh, really?
I've heard of cave, dude.
Creek in a cave.
No,
in
dude,
New York.
This is really cool. They you show up and there's like a reception area where like you can get drinks. You know what I'm saying? They got the merch booths there, and it's all will call, so you can't scalp tickets to this venue. From what I can tell, I don't know if people have figured out how to do it, but when you buy tickets, it's tied to your name, and you have to pick up your tickets.
Well, like show your ID, kind of.
You have to show your ID. It's got to be your name picking up your tickets. And when you show up, you get your tickets, you hang out with everybody, you have a beer, and then you walk down this gravel path that kind of goes through the woods, and then you see the mouth of the cave, and they got it all lit up with different lights, and you start going underground, it starts getting cold, and then it gets all lit up, all psychedelic, and then you go through a door, and like, because they got it walled off, there's just one tiny door. You go through the door, and you walk into the cave, and it's got the mist, like from movies. They got movie mist, and you walk in, and you see, you're like, what is going on? And it's underground. It's always like 62 degrees. And it was $7 beers for like nice 16-ounce.
Wow.
Not like, you know.
Normally you're paying like 15, 12 even.
I think the worst I ever saw in my life was Toyota Park in Chicago 2010. I think it was $18.50 for a beer.
Jeez.
$18.50 for a beer.
And that's like tall
Chicago.
can beer?
It's cheaper. It was cheaper to get a beer in New York than it was in Chicago. And this was the south side of Chicago. So not only did you have to be in the south side of Chicago, you had to pay. That was the most ridiculous.
I've never liked Chicago.
I'm not a fan either. Let's just piss those people off right up front.
If you're in Chicago,
not a fan. Good food. I've had
good hot dogs. Chicago. Deep dish pizza, go fuck yourself.
I love the food. Not a fan of the crime.
No, the crime.
Not a fan of The rampant crime.
$18 for a pack of cigarettes.
If you're lucky, dude.
Yeah. I remember going there. We went on some family trip to go see the Pompeii exhibit.
Yeah.
Basically, we're seeing a bunch of people encased in ash, which is kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Our hotel was like fortified, like a compound in like Belize would be.
Yeah.
And I went through the compound and I just grabbed all my change because I was broke. But I was like, it's got to be like $15-$16 in change. I can get a pack of cigarettes.
Good luck.
No, not at all. Like, I ended up walking out with like 5 Swisher Sweets.
Oh my God.
That's all I could afford.
Ooh.
Now, here at Radiation Island, we have the Radiation Top 5 burning questions.
Sure.
That we ask every guest. These were developed by me and my friend Chris Canaster back in like 2016. I can barely remember all of them, and they're absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, go for it, dude.
All right. Now, I want you to answer these like you're being interrogated by the FBI.
Okay.
And they've given you truth serum.
All right.
Question number 1. Have you ever had a paranormal encounter?
No, but I've tried. I've tried, dude, man.
You had a Ouija board
I
to
tried, dude,
graveyards.
back in Colombia, man. Oh, I was eating, just tearing 10 strips in half and looking up, dude, just trying to make it happen.
Trying to find something.
Oh my God, but nothing, dude, nothing.
No ghosts,
dude. Back in those days, me and my roommates at the time, smoke and watch Ancient Aliens. And this is back when Ancient Aliens was new. That's when this idea was new. And we were like, oh, shit, this
you don't even know about
it. It's real! It's real! And we just smoke and freak out and watch Ancient Aliens. Then one night, we got fucking dosed out, like, real serious. And I was like, oh, shit, we're all dosed out. We should watch Ancient Aliens. And we turn it on, and I go, this stupid horse shit. I go, there's an easy answer for every one of these stupid questions. And the cocksucker's going, well, now, what if? And if that's the case, then how about we suppose? I go, how about we don't? How about we don't? I know what someone's leading me down the path of lies. And it occurred to me, because I'm, moon pie eyes, I'm watching this. I go, you can tell how much somebody knows about Ancient Aliens by how messed up their hair is. There's a test. You can,
right.
If you got Giorgio Tsoukalos hair, you got a PhD in Ancient Aliens. I think it's all poppycock and nonsense.
Dude,
I don't buy it, dude.
I love the Lord of the Rings. Big fan of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And like 50
it's the best,
years
dude.
ago, I was like, me and my fiance at the time.
Yeah.
We were like, let's eat some mushrooms and we'll watch Lord of the Rings. It'll be the best experience ever.
No, we're not.
Dude, we were like 8 or 9 minutes into the movie, and I'm like, that's a fucking soundstage.
Yeah.
Like,
turn it
I'm like, that's not even Bilbo Baggins. That's some guy.
They're trying to fool me. They're trying to fool me.
Dude, all of the like suspense of belief or whatever was just shattered, and it was just like, let's just go walk around the neighborhood. This is bullshit.
Tripping and like watching entertainment. It sounds like all I did was eat acid in 2009. But we saw Avatar,
Sequels coming out.
And I'm sitting there and we're all tripping, and I just go, I was just very cynical for some reason. I go, they just made this to make money. I go, James Cameron, stop trying to fool me with your colors. These bright colors. This is all just to make money.
No, the thing's flying at you.
Oh, no, the environment.
Experience.
Fuck you. How much environment did you destroy to make this movie? They knocked the tree down in the movie. And they did it for real. Because they needed that shot. But I'm an old man right now. I don't trip anymore because I'm too old.
Yeah. It's amazing how when you're younger, some of the best times you have
can bounce back.
is when you're almost dying.
That's true. And I think that tripping, which I don't advocate to anybody, I don't recommend.
You got to be a
certain type of person. And also it helps.
Yourself.
It really helps to have your future in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Once you have a life of regret and like bad decisions made,
you don't want to look back on that.
You don't want to really intensely, introspectively look at you.
Don't
it's
put your
not
third
good,
eye
dude.
on that.
Not good, because I have friends. They're in their 30s. They're like, "Oh, I want to try acid." I go, "No, you don't.
Yeah.
You really don't.
You missed the ship."
Yeah, exactly. You missed the boat, bud. First of all, you look around your apartment and you go like, "Oh my God, I'm reminded of all these mistakes I've just forgotten."
Right, every little memory associated with everything.
Bad game to play, dude.
I remember where that smudge came from.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bad game to play. I don't recommend it.
All right, well, question number 2.
Yeah.
Do you believe in aliens? What are your thoughts on
No,
aliens?
I don't. I think it's all cockamamie nonsense.
Cockamamie nonsense.
Cockamamie nonsense. In fact, and we're not going to get into this because I'll do podcasts and I'll get led down a path where I'll say my real thoughts on things, and then I'll go, you got to delete that podcast because everybody alive wears a mask. Because if we all just said exactly what we're thinking all the time, you couldn't be friends with anybody. You could.
You would test a lot of friendships.
Do you not agree that everybody, to a degree, it's good politics to not just spit out all of your beliefs to everybody? Because we have a society that we all have to live in. But no, I'm not like an alien guy, dude. I think it's all cockamamie nonsense. And I think that, and I'm just going to stop right there, actually. I'm cutting it right there, dude. I don't buy it, though. I don't buy none of it. I think it's all nonsense.
I mean, I think as much as it could be real is equally as much as it could be fake.
I think they're trying to make us think it's real.
I mean, it could be. I mean, until you find the point in space where you can't go past it anymore.
If there was an alien invasion, the first thing I would think is this is the government trying to fool us. That's how I work. That's if there were aliens in the sky, I go, this is Project Bluebeam. This is the New World Order's making their move for their one world government, and I don't buy it, by the way. And they'll have beep, 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 beep. I go, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I saw Far From Home. I know how these drones with their projections. I don't buy none of it.
Not into it.
I don't buy any of it, dude. I don't buy it. It's
I mean, I would think that there are aliens out there, but yet I think as a life form, human beings are so worthless that they would want to have no interaction with us.
That's a bad thing to think. That's your team, you doofus.
Yeah,
that's your team.
Look at our team.
Yeah, it's bad, but I think
our team sucks.
Our team sucks, but I think the only reason we're having the troubles we're having is because we are products of the culture we're fed, and the culture we're being fed is purposely leading us down bad paths, and it's purposely making people stupid and unable to have safe, predictable lives.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back to like the 90s,
yeah,
like the crazy kind of degenerate person was the guy that's like, I just want to watch TV all day. TV's like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Well, now we have far superior forms of entertainment, but not all of them are good. Some people are out there living each and every day so they could see a cartoon character get fucked by tentacles.
That's not good.
It's a reality.
It's not good to live that way.
And not only that, you can find a community where you can share your tentacle fucking with other people.
I accidentally, because I only just recently kind of started hopping on Reddit, but that's where I discovered the brony community.
It's a real thing.
And it breaks my heart, too, because these are people who would maybe otherwise not get into this if we had a better system set up.
And I don't want to talk bad about them because they're not hurting anybody.
That's the thing, dude. I don't like talking bad about anybody. I don't like talking bad about anybody because if I were them and in their circumstances and I came from where they came from, it's very likely I'd be just as fucked up as they are.
In all honesty, I am jealous of those bronies.
No, you're not.
You're
really not.
You have so much time and effort, and you could spend it on anything. There was a kid that made a nuclear reactor in his backyard. And these guys are going all in on My Little Pony. For that amount of time, energy, money, and work to avoid shame or whatever, do you have any idea how happy that thing has to make you for you to go after it like that?
Yeah, but here's the thing, is being in that fandom, does that lend itself to living a good and productive life?
I think it all boils down to...
Do you think the people that are in that culture are into it because it brings them joy, or do you think they're into it because they're coping with trauma? And I
think they're into it. I think because it's such an involved thing. And it's so deep.
Right.
And you can't just be at work casually and be like, so yeah, me and the fellas gonna meet up and watch some ponies get down. Like, you have no outwardness to share it. Well, so it has to make you really happy.
I think it's
to want to work for that.
I think it's a symptom of trauma. And I think that when you get into something like that, because I've heard these guys talk about it, they're like, oh, it's so bright and colorful, and these ponies are always so happy. And it's an escape from what they're used to, which is probably traumatic experiences that they haven't faced or made peace with, you know. And I have all the sympathy in the world for people who go through trauma. A lot of times you're exposed to trauma, you have nothing you can do about it. You're a kid, you know, and you internalize it. And the more you internalize trauma, the worse it gets. Because a lot of people think, I'll just take this and I'll put it in a box down here and I'll forget about it. But then what your trauma does is it sits in that box and it's just doing push-ups, dude. It's doing curls. It's kissing its biceps, and it explodes until you have it. You will have to deal with it. Everything that you compartmentalize and push down will come back to haunt you every single time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been going to fucking PTSD therapy once a week,
right,
for the past 6 months, and for me, it was like something traumatic would happen. And instead of pushing it down, that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Let's just take some alcohol and fucking flush that mouse back down.
It's the state of coping, dude. It's the state of coping, and it's not good.
For me, you suppress things so much that eventually they go. If you think of your mind like the Wizard of Oz, and the wizard's behind the curtain, eventually those things that you suppress need to come up somewhere,
Every time.
They come up behind the curtain where you can't see. Next thing you know, it got to the point where I was having like physical reactions to shit that I was just like, I dated this girl that was Mexican. I think she put a curse on me.
I bet she did.
Because all these things are happening now. And like, just no explanation of why I was having these levels of anxiety, and I didn't know what to do. So you pour more liquor on it.
Exactly.
But at a certain point, it's like a grease fire.
Exactly.
You know, you pour water on the grease fire, it shoots up.
Right.
And so then it's like I get to the point where it's like the car breaks down, and then you got to take all the parts off of it and start rebuilding it very inconveniently and slowly.
Right.
But it is worth rebuilding.
It is. And here's the thing. The way I see it is you don't really have a choice.
No, not at all.
Okay? So you either will allow life to beat you down and you will be a victim of it and it will destroy you.
Well, you do have a choice. You can either continue like this and die.
Yes, exactly.
Or you have to
fight the good fight. Right. So you deal with somebody who's had a rough go of it. And it's easy to give up. That's the thing. Most people do give up because it's the easier option. And then the older I get, the more I realize that I'm starting to kind of see the world in a 95%, 5%, right? 95% of people take the shortcut, take the easy way out, don't deal with their shit. And that's kind of why we're having the shit world that we're having, is because most people, to some degree, are in a state of coping. They're running from some type of past trauma. Here's the thing about trauma. It doesn't necessarily have to be obvious and overt. It can be mild things that have gone on your whole life that you don't even realize are affecting you, but it changes the whole way you live your life. It's, and I'm getting distracted. This is getting very, very heavy. I've been talking
dude.
I've been talking about this a lot with my...
This is Radiation Island.
I've been talking about this a lot. This is a topic that I've been diving into with my friends a lot about about the state of coping, and about how even like you have a lot of nerddoms and fandoms about certain, IPs and stuff. A lot of these people are in a state of coping. You know what I'm saying? They're using these things to run away. Most people who play video games aggressively are running away. A lot of people who watch too much porn are running away. And we live in a world now where the option to run away from your problems, we have every opportunity to like live a life in fear and run away, and they're making it more available to run away.
You can carry a little device with you.
That's what I'm saying.
Teleport you mentally.
And it's like we're setting up the game to make people fail, because it's first of all, it generates money. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to just look at the surface value, it generates loads of income. But I think that like I said earlier, we are products of the culture that we're being fed, and the culture that we're being fed is leaving people feeling empty, alone, and it's it's a rigged game almost. If you're gonna change your life, and I give you all the credit in the world, Steve, because you're dealing with your problems head on, and this is something that 5% of people do.
Right.
5% of people have it in them to change. Changing is the hardest thing you can do. 95% of people, shortcuts, easy path, stay in the state of coping.
Well, with the running away in therapy, it's called distraction.
Yeah.
Which is the number one form of coping mechanisms. The problem is that it's good to a certain point, and then you're distracting yourself to prevent yourself from dealing with whatever the trauma is.
Exactly, but that's also compartmentalizing and pushing down and making things worse.
Well, you're supposed to use distraction as this is really heavy, this is really intense. Let me play this little video game for an hour or so, and then come back. Where you're not supposed to dress up as characters and try to live your life as the video game character.
No.
And people get to the point where you have that option of you can continue to do what you do and die, or you can tear everything down and rebuild it and seek out this new life. But the problem is most people in that moment are so deep and so down, they're imagining what the outcomes would be like. And it's easier for them to imagine themselves just dying and this idea of what death is versus what a new life would be like. Because, I'm so fresh removed from this that now I have the fucking best life I've ever had in my existence. It took 6 months of work, and it still takes work. But leading up to that moment, like if I knew exactly, like if I had the crystal ball when I was making that decision of what I could be feeling, what I could be doing with my life, where I could be seeking, the goals that it'd be like, fuck yeah, that's a no-brainer. But when you're all fucked up, you don't have that foresight. All you think of is like, my world's going to end.
Yeah.
So in a sense, metaphysically, you are dying. That person that you are that's in that state, that's continuing to do all that stuff, that person has to die so that way that person can be gone and this new person could come in.
So the way I like to describe that is we all have an inner bitch.
Yeah.
We all have a voice inside of us that is loaded with fear, lousy with anxiety, and absolutely not at all in your corner. Right?
Right.
It wants you to give up and just...
It actively wants you to be eaten by the world.
Yes, and it pushes you down there. And we all have this. And unfortunately, we live in a world where that voice has every opportunity to win. Right?
Yeah.
So it is up to the individual to make the conscious decision that I am not going to throw my life away and live like this. Now, it's very difficult to do. And a lot of people, what they'll do, and I'm sure you've seen this, where guys start and they maybe make it a week, maybe they make it a month, but old habits die hard. And here's the thing. You got 6 months under your belt of playing the game the right way and doing your best, right?
Yeah.
You could just as easily fuck up tomorrow because you know now. Because you don't get as far as you do without seeing. Like, I've done my best to turn my shit around, right? But I'm always one decision away from going back to the old me and, falling into that lifestyle. It's very easy to do that. And you never get rid of it either. Because all of the times, I was talking to my cousin about this, I go, all the times where I felt like I've made major changes in my life in a positive way, and I get too high on my accomplishments, the next day I screw up. The second I feel like I got it all figured out and this is gravy, I'm fixed. I got it figured out, Eating healthy, going to the gym, taking care of myself, and then you fuck it up the next day.
And that's the biggest part of therapy that I don't think people understand. A lot of people's impression of therapy or thought is you go and then you talk to someone and then you feel better because you talk about it. And that is that's like surface level. That's like when you play the video game, you press the buttons.
Yeah, no.
Like when you go to therapy, if you're doing it right, just by going there, it's like walking into the gym. If you don't lift the weights, there's no benefit to going to the gym.
Right.
You can't just walk in a building and have a magical thing.
Right.
But the whole purpose of it is to actively rewire your brain.
Yeah. And
so when you hit those points where you feel like you fucked up, or you feel like you failed, instead of being like, oh God, I failed, better pour alcohol in the mouse and get it back down the hole. You go, okay, well, it's not that I failed, but this didn't really work out the way I was hoping it would.
Right.
I was hoping it would be this. This is what I actually got. So, and it's a constant state of evaluating everything. to where there's good and bad, and how you feel, how you want to feel, and how you can make everything worse. And for a while, it takes time to mentally
get there,
be focused and hold yourself in that moment, and not try to pull back from feeling things and actually figure stuff out logically. But the more you do something, the more it becomes instinct, to where it's not that it's easy, but you know, when something bad used to happen to me, I'd get drunk and fucked up and just let it say fuck it.
Right.
Whereas now, like, I have a whole coping process. I have
Right.
a whole series of explanations. I can gauge stuff and, like, am I fine on my own? Do I need to talk to a friend? Do I need to talk to my therapist? Do I need to talk to my psychiatrist about medication?
Right.
Do I need to make a phone call right now to medical professionals through warm lines or hotlines to get myself regrouped and ground?
Right.
Like, there's a whole different degree of weapons you can use instead of, like, just pour that alcohol on it.
The hardest thing about getting clean, and not just in sobriety sense, because just getting sober is not really enough. It's like if you just stop using, that's not really enough to make your life worth your time, which is really the goal, to create a life where when you wake up you go, this life that I've made for myself is worth my time.
Yeah.
I'm involved in it. The hardest thing to do to go from A to B, right, is learning how to deal with disappointment. Because even if you live that clean life, even if you're taking care of yourself, you're worried, you know, you got all the check marks, you know, not getting messed up, have goal-oriented, you know, realistic, achievable goals that are worth my time. Dealing with disappointment will screw you up, just like what you're saying, dude. When you would have disappointment in the past, what's the first thing you do? Cope with the disappointment without dealing with it.
Yeah.
Just cope, you know, just pour booze on it.
Yep.
That's the hardest thing, is having things not go your way. Because your inner bitch, when things don't go your way, you go, I've been getting sober, I've been going to the gym, I've been waiting, and things still didn't work out for me. And it's just your inner bitch going, oh God, please go back to the old you. Please, yeah. I wanna self-destruct so badly.
See, I think that one of the benefits that I've had in my life is my extremeness.
Yeah.
To where, like, anything that I do it to the most...
Addicts usually do. Addicts usually push it to
smoke weed? Yeah. Fuck you. I'm working at an illegal marijuana grow.
Exactly.
As my main source of income.
Addicts are all or nothing.
Drink beer. I'm going to travel around the country to drink for free.
Exactly.
But so, for me, it gets to a point to where, like, I do something so intensely, so extreme, that I reach a point to where it's like, I'm fucking done with this.
Yeah.
And then it makes things easier to just stop doing. Like, when I quit smoking pot, like, pot had been in my life so much. It was like, to the point, 40 hours a week, I worked with this shit and fucking did all this stuff. Yeah. And then when it was like, I should probably stop fucking with weed, it was like, oh, thank God.
And you feel relief almost?
Dude, and it was the easiest thing in the world. Even quitting drinking wasn't that hard.
No.
Based off of, one, I had fucked myself up pretty bad.
Yeah.
Two, I wanted to quit drinking. And three, I actually had, like, tools that made a difference. Like, for me, AA didn't work as well. I don't want to say it's a bad program or anything like that. It all depends on who you are, what you need, and what you can afford. Right. And I felt like with AA, it's like everyone going like, all right, huddle up. And now we never leave the huddle.
Yeah.
We stay in this huddle forever, because if we leave the huddle, we're going to play.
Codependent. It's still codependent.
Yeah. I mean,
you're still codependent on the group. Yeah.
Now, granted, it's like, do I want you to get drunk and drive a car and kill people, or go to AA? Like, that's an obvious no-brainer.
Exactly. But it is swapping one thing for another. But
it's how you use it.
Addiction is a motherfucker, dude. And I know from experience, and that's why I have all the respect in the world when I meet people who actually kick it, because it's a 5% move. To actually kick it and stay clean is a 5% move.
And, like, even with me, like, I wouldn't consider myself addicted. I was just incapable of, I don't want to say comprehending. I was incapable of computing emotionally stressful events. I just didn't know how to handle it, didn't know how to deal with it. But I knew that if I swallowed this shit enough, I'd feel pretty fucking good.
Well, it's because...
But some people, they're getting, like, heroin.
That's a hard escape, dude. Like, that's a hard escape.
I mean, there's, like, some deep, intense shit that you can get into with drugs.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, it wraps your psychology around to where it was like, I'll quit drinking if you can fix me mentally. You can fix me mentally? All right. I'll see where you go. And from there, I just kept running with it. And I saw the improvements and I wanted to work harder.
Right.
But when you're like physically controlled to the point like your body's involved into it too, like that's like the way I am with cigarettes.
Oh,
I can walk away from weed. I can walk away from drinking.
That nicotine.
It's like driving past an old job you used to work at. Like, man, I remember driving there every day.
Yeah.
Whereas cigarettes, it's like a family member died. Like, I can never do this again.
There's the ritual of going outside for a smoke. The ritual of it. And how many times are you in a social situation where you go, I don't want a cigarette so much as I just want to remove myself from this.
I'd like 10 minutes
I need 10 minutes outside in the quiet, you know. That's the hard thing about it, breaking out of that. And it's, but it's still bad for you, Buster. It's still not good. It's still a cope.
We've got our third question here.
But the way I look at it, don't try to quit everything at once, but do. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't deal with yourself with kid gloves. But it's a real motherfucker going cold turkey. Say you're fucked up on 4 things. You quit all 4 things at once. That's a real motherfucker.
Probably going to die.
Yeah,
probably
but
not going to pull through it.
But it's the answer. It's the answer.
You got to get to that finish line eventually.
Yeah. To make your life worth your time is a very hard thing to do. Most people don't get it, dude. Most people don't. Most people live and die unfulfilled and miserable. And it's sad. Because there's the thing. Growing up, how often does somebody sit down and instruct you on how to deal with disappointment or how to deal with failure? It almost never happens for anyone.
No, well, and I think especially as a parent, like I think there's so many times where even if you're the best parent in the world,
you're
seeing the long-term picture for your child. Yeah. But when you're a child, every moment is your entire world.
Yeah, and it goes deep. It goes deep, dude.
And everything you've ever known.
It goes deep. What happens to you as a kid affects you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And you can even have, this is one thing I'm tripping on lately, is how things that aren't really even that overtly traumatic can still affect you in a negative way for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah.
Just having like an overbearing parent can ruin you for your life. And they can be, for the most part, pretty good, but it can still mess you up for life.
I mean, you still, as a human being, you learn from watching other human beings.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid,
not necessarily sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, only when you feel like it suits your own needs.
Exactly.
Fire
it off.
What conspiracies do you believe in?
All of them.
Other than 9/11.
All of them.
Because we would ask this question to people, and everyone would be like, 9/11 was an inside job.
All of them. I believe in every conspiracy theory.
Some of my favorites are Avril Lavigne was murdered and then replaced.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to do something with the music or something.
I buy it. I'm in. This is the first time I've heard it. I'm in hook, line, and sinker. And I'm telling everybody tonight, did you hear about Avril Lavigne?
I'm telling everybody tonight. The second this ends.
First of all, the truth will find a way.
Right.
Avril Lavigne is, what did you say?
She's dead and replaced with somebody else.
She's dead and it's actually Avril Lavigne. It's just one letter
Eric LaGrange.
Exactly. I believe it, dude.
All right. Do you feel that masturbation causes you to have bad luck?
I think that this is heavy, dude. I could dive in deep to this one. I don't think it's good for you. All right? I don't think it's good for you. I certainly don't think watching porn is good for you, and it's pretty simple why. You're basically giving yourself a dog treat for not doing a trick. You're satisfying a need with a couple clicks of a button. When if you're gonna live in the real world, in reality, and you want to go out and get laid, you have to better yourself. You have to make yourself an appealing partner.
Right. If you got to get those peacock feathers looking nice.
You got to listen. Well, listen. I mean, it's not a charity. You gotta do the best. You gotta make yourself into somebody that you're happy to be.
Right.
Because you want to. I think pretty much all of life is cultivating your energy.
No, I mean, it definitely.
I know this is crystal talk. This is crystal dreamcatcher talk.
Well, I mean, if you feel your energy into the motivation behind your thoughts, which is essentially kind of where energy is.
You're the sum of your experiences, so you want to have as many positive, healthy experiences as you can.
Yeah. And
porn is horribly addictive, and if you get caught in that line, if you keep using it to satisfy that need, it's much easier to live your whole life without bettering yourself. And I think that actually that's an epidemic that people aren't talking about It's just kind of just recently started to get brought up.
Well, it's only when somebody gets caught doing something fucked up.
Yeah, but it's also a thing that like we don't talk about it because it is like a private thing. But I think it's something that a lot of people, because it's too accessible. It used to be.
It's overwhelmingly accessible.
Right, and here's the thing.
You used to have passwords.
It used to be more different, and I remember, when we were, freshly pubescent boys, we'd get on and we'd try to, get online, and the best we could do is get a slowly downloaded. You know what I'm saying? Right. You sit there and you see a picture
that had a storyline, like it was an actual movie,
and you had to wait.
Have people have sex.
You had to wait. You had to wait till 11:30 on a Friday and turn on Showtime to watch two people rubbing bellies.
And even then, it was a friendly kind of sex.
It was not this hard.
Hey, I found my stepsister and I put her in a dryer.
It's too real, and it's too accessible, and it could ruin a kid if they stumbled on it. You know what I'm saying? If you saw it at the wrong age, we're talking about kids having trauma, and it affects them for the rest of their life. Getting exposed to it too early could definitely do a number on you. And I know the original question is, do you think masturbation gives you bad luck? I think that if you ever dove into not blowing your load, semen retention, I think that there are some high level benefits to that, dude. High level benefits. I think that because when I found out about it, I was like, I'll at least give it a whack. To say something, I'll at least not give it a whack.
I'll tug on this rope.
But you will, your energy levels go up. Yeah. Personally, I found out my workouts went through the roof. You know what I'm saying? And I had a higher drive to go out and get the job done, dude. Like I had a drive.
You definitely are more motivated to do
exactly. And you go, oh, maybe this is how people are supposed to live. The older I get, dude, the more I realize most of that Christian stuff I was taught as a kid is right on the money, dude. Every 2 months I go, oh man, that Bible had it figured out. Maybe we ought to not throw this thing away.
Well, see, because the problem is that the Bible doesn't break things down to you on a human level. It tries to tell you these stories that if you were a really, really dumb person, the stories are perfect. They're like, fuck, I totally see what happened. You got to slay the giant.
Right.
Whereas if somebody just came down and was like, there's a benefit psychologically to doing this type of behavior.
If it could be articulated in the right way, more people would be on board. But
imagine you're trying to produce a publication to masses of people who most of them are just living in things that we wouldn't even call buildings. They would be, a hobo lean-to would look like a mansion compared to most of the domiciles that people were living in. Right. Assuming they weren't just living in tents or, animal skin kind of covers.
Right.
So it's like I could see why they would want to try to trick somebody. This whole question came from when I worked at the pot farm during the week. I would never jack off because I felt like it would give me bad luck and it would get raided while I was there.
It did give you bad luck.
Great luck. I wasn't there.
You know why it gives you bad luck? It's because I think that you got to have a little bit of reverence for your load because that's your essence. That's your life energy. It takes your body an incredible amount of time and energy to produce a load, right?
Sure.
Vitamins, minerals. I don't recommend you eat it. You know what I'm saying? I don't recommend that at all. I don't think that's
not the right protein.
I don't think that's good. But I do think that when you're just being willy-nilly with it and you just on the floor, you're doing yourself a disservice. Because if you allow that to back up, you might find yourself with higher testosterone levels, your social anxiety goes down lower, and you're more willing to get out there and get after life, which is, by the way, something I think 95% of people are dealing with. They're dealing with anxiety. They're dealing with depression. And these are people who are largely just pretty much consistently whacking off to porn, not going to the gym. And, I don't have the time. Really? You have your whole life. You have your whole life. You have the whole rest of your life. You don't have time to take care of yourself.
You have the whole world in your hands.
Exactly. You have the whole world in your hands. You don't have time to take care of yourself, do self-maintenance. Life is brutal, and it's unforgiving, and it's completely ruthless, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have a choice over that.
Absolutely not. That's like the root foundation of Buddhism is that every human life suffers.
Dude, that we were watching Lord of the Rings, and watching it as an adult and understanding how that story describes evil and the nature of evil is so on the money.
Right.
the desire for power and the way they put it into place is just almost perfect.
And how the men were given the rings, but they were deceived and corrupted.
Because
and
man,
did the
dude,
bidding because they wanted the power.
You want to get down on some Bible, dude. One of the fundamental principles of the Bible is that man himself is a fallen being. Men are imperfect. We are designed to fuck up, and we do. We do it well too. We're really good at fucking up, right?
Some people make careers out of fucking up.
Exactly, and that's the thing. We live in a world where there might be somebody who makes you rich and famous, so you can keep fucking up and be a bad example to a bunch of people, and perpetuate the whole cycle. But I think that for me personally, a big eye-opening moment was when I realized that if I'm left to my own devices without any self-restraint, I'll destroy myself quickly too.
Yeah.
Right? You need to acknowledge that you are an imperfect person, and when you start there, everything else after that is so much easier. Because when you're having the bad impulses or you're having a moment of weakness, it's not unnormal. It's actually quite natural and in your nature to struggle with these things.
Right.
But I'll have people who are like, no, that's just how I am. Yeah, it's how we all are. That's how we all are.
That's just how I am.
It's how we all are. But you have to overcome your nature. That's the struggle of life, man. The struggle of life is overcoming the devil, dude. And I'm not like, I mean, I'm down with the literal devil because I've been alive long enough to see what it does to people's lives.
Yeah.
To see when you're going down these paths and how, because dude, I know you a long time. We've been doing podcasts for 10 years, you and I.
Yeah.
And I know you've lived life, dude. You played the game, dude.
Oh,
You participated. So you know when you're dealing with temptation, how deceiving it is. And how when you start lying to yourself, when you start, dude, that's a big one. When you start telling yourself lies, I feel like the Christians articulated it better. They're like, that's the devil. And he's on your shoulder. And he's like,
it does make it easier to deal with once you've kind of put some sort of texture.
Exactly.
Face,
when you make
made it an entity kind of a thing, then it's easier to fight instead of being like, boy, these natural chemicals inside of my body are
dude, that whole
bubbling at an irregular rate.
I'm not down with that whole like, oh, it's all just chemicals in your head. Yeah, no shit, but it's also deeper than that. It's also much deeper than that, you fucking idiot.
There's motivation.
Like life is a shockingly astonishing gift, and most people don't even tap into the surface of that because they take it for granted. Because we live in a world where you're constantly being pumped full of messages that we are an accident. Life is just this fleeting thing. We're one of many different civilizations. We'll all rise and fall, and there's no point in anything because it'll all just be gone one day, which is precisely the opposite of the truth. But that's the dominant narrative, and that's why we're having such a fucked up world, because so many people have bought into this idea of moral relativism and nihilism, and they're throwing their experience away. When, like what you were saying earlier, it was really profound. It's how I know you're fucking for real, dude, is when you said it's actually really easy. When you start, it's really not that hard. Because it's like, people are like, how do I quit watching porn? You just stop.
Yeah.
You just stop. How do I quit doing drugs? You just quit doing it. Stop hanging out with the people you do it with. Like, no, but what's the real thing? Oh, it's like, you got to do 5 jumping jacks, okay, and then spin around 3 times. Then you quit.
Pull on your
It's
ear.
really, yeah, exactly. It's
Take
not
the hair from the back of your knee, burn it with a candle. Everybody wants that secret, but I mean, a lot of that shit. The big thing is your life is revolving around something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then to remove that thing, that's like what your whole existence is centered around. So then it's like there's this fear of the unknown of like what comes next. Like I always equated to being a little kid. Like I was terrified in Jurassic Park of the T-Rex.
Right.
Like that was the scariest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
Until I realized, according to the movie, that if you just stand still, he can't see you. Well, now I know how to defeat a T-Rex or how to get around it, so I'm not really that scared of it anymore.
You go to the template of like the dragon protecting the gold.
Right.
Because the dragon is the most terrifying thing in the world.
And all you got to do is look for that missing scale.
But if you face it head on and you beat it, you get the golden life. It's the same thing with life. We all have anxiety and fear. Humans are terrified of success and winning, because as much as you can be terrified of losing and terrified of being a failure, we are programmed to also be terrified of success. Because what does it mean when you're successful? You're moving up the social ladder, right? You're going up. Well, what does that mean? Well, the people who are at this tier are not going to try to kick you back down because they don't want to share that. Right. So there's a fear of succeeding too. But how do you the way I see it is how you deal with all fear is pretty much the same, and it's just you got to go head on. And is it scary? Absolutely. Do you fuck up sometimes? Without question. But what else are you gonna do with your time? You really only got one shot at this. You got one shot at your life, and too many people keep putting that thought off as hard as they can. They try to shove it away. No, I'm not gonna pay attention to it.
Well, dude,
but you're in it right now. You're in your one shot.
I like to think of this concept of like heaven and hell, right? Heaven is
Yeah.
supposed to be really great.
Yeah.
Hell's supposed to be like the worst thing in the world. Imagine if when you died, you went through your life again, but this time you viewed it like Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
And you're just like sitting in a theater watching your life.
I'm terrified of
If
that.
you didn't do shit, how bad would your fucking
I'm terrified of
movie
that.
be?
First of all, I'm terrified of how cringe most of my life is, and if I have to watch it,
You're
again,
like, all right, the first batch of years.
oh my god, if I
Just
die,
get
if
through
I
that.
die and God makes me watch my life and I have to answer for all the awful shit I got away with, I'll kill myself again. I'll kill
In the
myself
theater?
again and go to double hell.
In your
I'll go to
mental
double
building?
hell. I killed myself during the replay. Now I got to watch the replay and then the part where I died and killed myself there.
And just before we start getting into Star Wars, because I do want to talk about Star Wars.
Don't get me started on Star Wars.
When we were talking about all these messages being sent out,
yeah.
if you think of like one of the most damaging things to humanity is commercials.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, hey, I've got a problem. Well, just get this little squirm,
Consumerism.
and then squirm on it, and then it's handled. Like how many times is that basic? I have a problem. You just need to get this. How many times has that message been hitting your head? You never see a commercial where it's like, man, I've got a problem. I was like, well, let's start working at it because it's
Right.
going to take a long time.
So, the most evil thing Google does is they try to sell us things more aggressively every day. Every day they're coming up with new tricks and traps to sell us things more effectively.
Yes.
That's what they do. They're stealing all of our data to sell us things. Money, I look at money, consumerism, products and shit like that. It's all bottomless pits, all of it. So if you're living your life going, I want to be rich, and because I feel like most people feel inadequate, most people feel insecure, and a lot of people have different ways to deal with that. So they'll go, I'm going to make a lot of money, and I'll drive a nice car, then I'm going to feel fulfilled.
Then
Once
I'll
I
hit
get-
it.
Then I'll finally be fixed. I'll finally be fixed.
Yeah.
Once I get that nice car,
If
I'm
I could
fixed.
just start featuring.
Exactly.
Life
If I
would
could
be
just
so
start feeding,
amazing.
exactly. If I could just X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
If I just made enough money. Oh, if I was just fucking the hottest girl, then I would finally be happy. But it's all bottomless pits, all of it. There's not a thing you're gonna buy. If you're living your life to consume and to buy new things and to just distract yourself, there's not a final thing you buy that fixes you on that level. But we're rooted in this very material heavy world where that is told. We're told that's the answer. And why are we being told that's the answer? Well, it's making people stupid fucking rich. The more stupid shit we buy, the better life gets for these people who are just they're just trying. And it's not like how it used to be. It used to be there's the guy who makes the bricks. There's the guy who makes the it's now
I repair shoes.
it's two companies. It's two companies we're buying everything from. It's not even a fair game anymore.
I repair shoes. Well, we use
Yeah.
children in China.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
Oh.
it's dude, the world is really fucked up, and it's worse than it's ever been. And then people go, he's so stupid. It's actually better than it's ever been. Yeah, I get a cool story.
Right.
Right.
Maybe if you had a flip phone
So I don't like
and read books exclusively for entertainment.
the reason I don't just go around preaching,
You
against nihilism and
You
against
can't.
materialism and just living in this surface world that we're being sold, right? The reason I don't do that, at least now anyway, is because it's obvious to me that if you want to bitch about the world, great, you can do that. But the fight starts with you.
Yeah.
It begins in here. Worry about this in here. Because I've noticed when I'm doing good and I'm living a good life, I'm more apt to be a better friend to the people around me. When I'm being a better friend to the people around me, it enables them to live better lives too. So if I'm doing right by me, I'm in a better position to do right by the people around me. It starts here. Don't
Yeah.
just run around bitching and complaining about the world. It really does start with you. It begins there.
absolutely.
And then that echoes out. So all I can do is do my best to explain this is my experience and this is what I see. It's worked for me. And I feel like these last 2 years for me have been life-changing.
Yes.
Because I just made up my mind. I was like, I've got to craft my life into something that's worth my time. I need to be able to wake up and go, I'm involved in this. I'm not just passively floating by. And I've had unbelievable results. But every time I get a new achievement or a new level of understanding, I realize the bottom just keeps going. You know, it's like when it comes to self-improvement, it's just it keeps going endlessly, and you're like, well, shit, what else am I going to do with my time? Am I going to quit here? No, you got to keep going.
You have to. Your hamster wheel, and you have to run.
You have to. And here's the thing. Once you get a taste of like living well and doing right, it's addictive because you realize, oh, this is the answer. This is...
Yeah. And well, not only that, but you accumulate more because you're not self-sabotaging yourself. It's not like, you know, oh, this great thing happened to you. Well, you wanted to self-sabotage, so you got all drunk, and now you wrecked your car. So now you got to get a new car. But you don't have enough money for a new car, so now you got to sell off some of these video games that you don't play that much. You got to get an extra job so that way you're not having as much free time. And it's like, and then it like whatever you, momentum is real. 95% alive.
It's absolutely real. When you make one bad decision, when I fuck up a little bit, it's so much easier for me to go, well, I already fucked this up. Might as well keep going because
I think of that way with my credit card debt. Like,
might as well keep going.
I got $100. I'm okay. I need to pay that. Boom. Something's wrong with the car. I need car repairs. All right, well, I guess I'll put it on this credit card. I have no idea how I'm going to pay this, but I guess I'll put it on there. Right. Well, I don't know how I'm going to pay that, but I still have $600 left on it.
Right.
If we're not going to pay it, let's really not pay it.
Let's double down. Right. What are they going to do? Come here?
Let's get some shirts. Let's buy sandwiches.
You're going to change my imaginary credit score number? Right. Fuck you. Good luck.
The number that I don't even want?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of numbers you don't even want... Episode number 9.
No thanks, dude.
On the horizon.
I'm saying no thanks. So I Last Jedi was so bad, it woke me up.
Did it?
It woke me up in the sense that I realized, I'm a fucking adult man watching a kid's movie. And I got hurt by a kid's movie. And then I had to take 8 steps back. Not even I had to take 8 steps back and go, what the fuck am I doing with my life? All this stuff we're talking about self-improvement and knowing yourself and trying your best to live a good, honest life, started with The Last Jedi. It started with me going, what the fuck is this stupid movie? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I feel like the tomfool. You know, I saw Force Awakens. I go, wow, what a cool movie. I'm a fucking adult man. I should not have thought that was a cool movie. It's a movie for children. It's bright, flashy colors. And it shook me, dude. It shook me so badly and now that this one's coming out, I'm going, I couldn't give a fuck, dude.
Are you going to see it on release day?
No. Fuck no. Dude, I'm probably not even going to go see it.
It destroyed?
I couldn't even... Well, first of all, it's getting bashed the shit out of, but that's because Ryan... Dude, when Disney bought it, at first... I was like, oh, this will be cool, because Disney's got the funds.
There's a lot of money to go
Yeah, exactly. Disney's got the money to just get shovels and just shovel money on the IP and just go make it perfect. And I thought that's what they were going to do. But that's not at all what they were ever going to do. And the smart people tried to tell me, they go, Disney's not really good at making art. They're not really good at making meaningful content. They're good at producing stuff that people go and see. You know, that is exactly what it is. I can't believe it was handled so poorly by just not even having somebody sit down. You know, some asshole who's read Joseph Campbell 150 times should have come up with an outline for all 3 movies.
Why didn't they just have Kevin Smith direct and write it?
They needed some type of through line. That's, to me, where they're going, we'll have JJ do one, and we'll have this kid who did 2 movies. He did 2 movies. In Hollywood, you fail upward. Hollywood, you can do bad, and they'll keep giving... It's a weird place. Dude.
I mean, when Force Awakens came out, I have the collages on my wall of when we were in the theater, seeing it for the first time. I was so excited that Star Wars was coming back. What are they going to do with Star Wars?
The hype was real, dude.
It's a big movie. And after that movie, I was excited.
Yeah.
I was on board, and I was like...
Me too.
We're going to see Luke fucking epic...
Crushing AT-AT, dude, with his hand.
Snapping his fingers,
down, dude.
Killing sons.
2 lightsabers.
Fucking kicking Darth Maul's children into the swamp.
Fucking tearing shit up.
And then not only that, there was some fake leaks about him using the Force to bring down Star Destroyer.
I remember that.
Crazy shit.
And it was.
And so when The Last Jedi came, it was like the trailer. It's time for the Jedi, and I was like, holy fucking shit! And that whole time waiting up for it, because in between that time, we also got Rogue One.
Yeah.
Which was not a bad fucking flick. That was a great little patch through. You can watch that and go right into this, and they're all just one thing.
How many times have you rewatched Rogue One?
Probably 3 or 4 times.
I think it gets worse with every rewatch.
Really?
I think it does. I think it gets worse with every rewatch. I think you realize it drags quite a bit. While it's not a terrible movie, and I wouldn't say that, I think that I don't believe Disney has produced, because I watched Force Awakens, and I was with you, dude. I was like, this is pretty cool, and they are setting the stage. But then I feel like you have to let stuff simmer. You know what I'm saying? You have to sit with it for a while, and then you can really assess it. How many times have you written a joke where you go, this is an amazing joke, and then you sit on it for 6 months, and you go, okay, well, it's not that good.
Right.
Or it's the other way around. Or it's the other way around where you go, this joke's not that good, and then time goes by and you go, it's actually really good. But I think sometimes you need to let stuff sit and simmer to realize your real thoughts on it. But dude, when I saw Last Jedi in the theater, we went to go to the Science Center, and we saw it on the Science Center, the big, blah, right? And we left, and I was like, oh, it's pretty good. It was pretty good. We're all like, yeah, not bad, not bad. We get in the car. And I went home, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, I got up the next day. I got up that Friday, because we saw it Thursday. I got up Friday, and I saw it at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
I got up, I had a cup of coffee, went straight to the theater, and I watched it again. And I left the theater. I remember it was like noon 30, and I'm leaving the theater, and I was like, was that bad? Dude, I called up Drew Rotherwick. I go, hey, was Last Jedi bad? And he goes, I think it was bad. And you watch the internet. You remember watching the reviews come in where people are like, oh, it's cool. But then it really was like a day later. People were like, what'd you think about this? And they're like, it kind of sucked, right? And it went from that to like, yeah, fuck this movie. It slowly kind of.
I remember the night before Last Jedi, there was maybe it was a couple days before, there was a leak on Reddit of how the film played out.
Yeah.
And just reading it, it was the stupidest fucking thing. The part that I couldn't get over was the Space Jesus Leia moment, to where I was like, I read that and I was like, well, clearly this is fake.
No.
There's no way
No.
somebody would have put this into the fucking movie.
No.
And I saw it, and it wasn't so much that I was like ravenously like, fuck this movie, or just not. It was just like, yeah, kind of done with Star Wars for a while.
Yeah.
It was like
it didn't feel congruent with anything that had come before it.
No,
it didn't even feel like it matched up with Force Awakens, and that's Disney's fault for thinking that they had too much faith in the property. They had too much faith in going like, whatever we put out, these fucking idiots are gonna buy it and they're gonna drink this fucking slop for the rest of their lives, and that's what they thought. But it's not necessarily the case. I mean, you can't just pop out any crap. And we'll say, like I said, I would like to see them take a hit on this, if not just to learn the lesson. But you know what? Here's the thing. Do I really give a shit if they learn a lesson? I don't really give a shit if they learn a lesson, because I'm done. I'm checked out, dude. I'm done with the company as a whole. I'm done with stuff. I'm just done. You guys fucked it up for me. I'm not alone in thinking that. I look online, and there are people who are like,
no, there's a lot of people.
Dude, they're butthurt over this movie. But I wouldn't say I'm necessarily butthurt as so much as like, I'm like shaken out of the Star Wars spell of like, this is, because here's the deal. Let's get fucking real honest here, dude. 4, 5, and 6 are unbelievable. Those are great.
They are really
movies,
good.
Dude.
Because they don't necessarily follow the classic Hollywood formula.
No, and it was a bunch of dudes crafting this with their hands.
Trying
it was
to make
made
something
with love,
really
dude. It was
cool.
saved in editing. And here's the thing: George Lucas was working as a collaborator with these people. Even though he directed it, the people around him had a say.
Yeah.
Now, the reason 1, 2, and 3 were so shit is because by this point, George Lucas is a living legend, and people are too terrified to go, hey, maybe take it easy with the the politics. maybe
Right.
let's have a war in the stars.
Not,
let's
not a trade dispute.
right. And I think the same thing happened maybe with Last Jedi, where you have somebody that it's too much centralized power, and people are just too scared to just speak up and go, "This is dumb. Don't do that." You know, and because from what I understand, Rian Johnson pretty much had full say on the script. Full say, dude, which is astonishing to me because I think I'm older than him, and Disney gives this guy, they go, do your thing, you do you, go make you a Star Wars. And I'm a big Star Wars fan. He's a big Star Wars fan in the sense that, like, the average viewer who goes, yeah, I like it.
He's a big Star Wars fan in the sense of, like, yeah, I'd love a chance to make a bunch of money.
Yeah,
I love Star Wars.
It was, I didn't like it. It was a mess, dude. No. But like I said, it was good for me. It was healthy for me to be shaken out of the hypnotic state of just being so locked into that, which is good because I think a big part about growing up is just knocking it off with the childish stuff. Like, would I like to play with Legos every day for the rest of my life? I have a city of Legos, but I can't do that because I'm an adult.
4,
I'm a
5,
grown
and
up.
6 were.
Luke
Skywalker's dad cut off his hand.
Yeah, dude, it's heavy. And that's the other thing. They lost the grit. I should have realized that Disney wasn't even going to mess around with the idea of, like, gritty, kind of real, like, this is Star Wars. People will die. You know what I'm saying? And then they take over, and it's like, what cute character can we merchandise this time around?
Dude, that plays... that all came from, that original tour line that came out. And everybody wanted the little character that was in the background that nobody really knew nothing out. Yeah. Now, when these toys come out, there's like 12 characters that are just in the background for a second that they're trying to sell you an action figure. Well, you want the whole set, right?
Yeah.
So, The Last Jedi really knocked me out of the Star Wars merchandise game.
Yeah.
Like, my buddy, he collects all of the Black Series 6-inch action figures. He has a room similar to like how I have this studio. He has this fucking toy room with all of his stuff. Like, the boxes are displayed sideways because there's so many of them on the shelves they can't be turned around. And it's like...
Don't you think that's a cope? Don't you think that's a way to run away from yourself because it's consumerism?
At a certain point, it's like... I think in his mind, he's like, I look at this treasure. Right. Look at my treasure.
We have that in us.
And now I'm like, all that stuff's really plummeted in value.
It's like the Funko Pops, where when I see somebody on Instagram who has 40,000 Funko Pops, and I go, this isn't about the Funko Pops anymore, is it? No, this is about something way different than little vinyl figures. This is a cope. You don't want to do smack, so you're gonna buy the. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to
smack your wallet.
You don't want to get loaded on smack, so you're gonna buy the Funko Pops. But a while ago when those Funko Pops were new, I got a couple, and then I realized, what am I gonna do? Get everyone from every movie I like? Do I just stop at Star Wars? And then I go, wait a minute, just don't do it at all. Right. I want to. I have the impulse. Then I go, yeah, but you're gonna have a lot of impulses that are wrong. You're gonna have a lot of desire. Your brain's gonna go, hey, you ought to do this, and it's a bad idea.
I bought 385.
Oh my god!
And a lot deal.
And you sold them though, didn't you?
The price came out to $2.50 per Funko.
And you sold a lot of them online. I remember when you did that.
I sold a fuckload of them, but
you made your money back.
I made more than my money back. I spent $1,000, and in the end, I made $8,000.
Damn.
Because like a lot of those would sell for $200.
You could have a show on the Travel Channel. You could have flip it with Steve Poggi.
It was crazy. But at the same time, when I was going through and I was pricing them out, I was like, oh, I'll keep that guy. Oh, I really like that movie. I'll keep that. Okay. And the next thing you know, it's like my sell pile was like 3.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, you want to keep these rare ones.
And then I was like, no, we are selling all of this.
That's why drug dealers don't dip into their own stash. That's why you can't.
I have 4 over there, but those are all autographed by Justin Roiland.
Right. And that's
each
cool.
character's catchphrase. And even those are for sale right now.
Wow.
But I'm selling each one of those for $300.
Now, don't get me wrong. I do have things from my youth that I'll never get rid of. But that's because it's like a token that's traveled with me through time. I mean, I just can't get rid of.
That was the first PlayStation I ever owned.
That's awesome.
I got that when I was a
I'm,
kid.
I'm cool with that, and that's something I've got my old consoles. You know what I'm saying? I've got a degree of hoarding.
Those are certain. I mean, but even that, like, I tried to put a mod chip in it, and it doesn't work anymore now.
But still, I can't.
It doesn't read CDs. But it's
in another 30 years, you're gonna look at it and go, you're gonna hold it and remember those times of like, damn.
Yeah, I'm putting like PlayStation magazine stickers on it.
I don't care how good your life gets. It's never as good as playing Ocarina of Time on the 64 when you're a kid. Yeah. It never gets better than that. And that's my whole life is just trying to get back to that. It's trying to get back to that feeling of.
Mine was very much trying to get back to playing Quake 2 online multiplayer.
It's the best. There's nothing better than playing it, but it's also part of that is you're a kid and you have no worries and your whole life is in front of you.
Now, going back to Star Wars, so this you have. You'll see it when it hits the dollar store kind of mentality.
Dude, I mean, here's the thing. I'm like, if I see it, I see it. But I'm certainly not making plans to go see it. And I've got friends who are like, hey, we're going to go see it this day. I go, yeah, cool, count me out. Like, thank you.
Like, I have the, family group together.
I know you have a tradition. I know you have a tradition of doing it. And I would never poo-poo on that because for you, it's more than just going to see a movie. This is a bonding experience.
And it's transitioned this year to where instead of being like so hyped and ravenous about the movie, I'm more hyped about getting together with all those people.
That's an awesome thing too, dude. If you guys have a plane where you guys can all come together and it's a bonding experience, that's amazing.
Yeah, you know, I mean that's because we're gonna go out to eat beforehand,
right? And
then we're gonna go
shirts,
see it.
The whole deal. That's awesome.
As far as the actual movie goes, though, but instead of that ravenous,
you can't be super psyched for this though. There's no way you can think that this is gonna justify these last two movies. There's no way.
We'll see how it ends.
There's no way. I hear it's a mess. And here's the thing: Last Jedi, what did it get? Like 92 on Rotten Tomatoes. Because Disney, they do their best. They're like, listen, we need Rotten Tomatoes. You notice how Rotten Tomatoes scores usually drop after the opening week because studios do their best. They're like, listen, we need to. What is it? 70% breaks the Rotten line.
I think so.
I think it's 70%. I could be wrong. It might be the 60. They might have even pushed it down because studios are like, we need the tomato. Right. Give us the tomato. We gotta bust that opening week, even with all of Disney's power and influence. Because Disney does shady stuff. You know what they'll do is they'll find reviewers and YouTubers and they'll go. Okay, so we looked at all of your past content, and you haven't said a bad thing about Star Wars, so we're going to get you guys some passes to the premiere. And they do like mafia tactics to get these people on their side. And you see, there are people making full-time careers with Star Wars YouTube channels.
Yeah, where they're just Star Wars Theory.
Dude, and
I used to watch that channel when it was like 400,000 people. Now they're at like 1.8 million.
Full-time livings. You're talking about people who are making,
No, this is empire building.
Yeah.
This isn't full-time living.
It's serious amounts of money, and they're just talking about Star Wars. And if you are on the Disney payroll and you're just saying good stuff, they will treat you so good. They'll let you go to Galaxy's Edge. They'll give you free tickets. Dude, they'll give you. It's like selling your soul to the devil, man. If you just lie about your feelings about it, they'll give you whatever you want. But so help you God, you better not betray this movie.
You can tell too because you'll see people that were like. So, obviously there was a lot of controversy around, they never really say their feeling. There's always, there's a lot of controversy around this movie. Some people didn't like it. It really wasn't a big deal for me. It definitely took the wind out of my momentum sails.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much anger or sad or, rage. It was just all right, cool, I got to find something else to get into because I think we've hit our limit with this. I feel like when you watch Marvel movies, they're based off of comic books. So there's a lot of time and effort that goes into making a good movie for them that explains everything. And watching Marvel movies is more like a puzzle in that it's about how they all connect together and kind of fill into the other one. Mm-hmm. Star Wars is more like an investigation. We're going to give you 3 movies. And the 4, 5, and 6, you didn't see that with. The original prequels, you have to really get into all the comics and the novels to really get that thing together. And even still in Attack of the Clones, you got to fast forward through some shit. You have to go on the internet and watch some of these recuts that fans have made.
Yeah.
So hopefully there will be some something but like I wish The Last Jedi would have opened up and the first 5 minutes would have been the same, and then with Luke not wanting to train Rey wanting to be trained, and then all of a sudden, I take not the first 5 minutes. You got to get rid of that whole space magnet mind thing. Just you started Act 2. Luke throws the lightsaber over his shoulder. Okay, and then you see them kind of bickering back and forth, him and Rey. He doesn't want to do it. She wants him to. Then you cut to one of the rebels or Republic or whatever the fuck they're called, not Resistance. You cut to one of their ships, and Kylo's boarded it. They're invaded, and you see Leia standing there. And then Snoke comes on, and Snoke kills Leia right then and there. And as Luke's debating with Rey about how he doesn't want to train her in this and that, he feels the death of Leia, and he's like,
"No, okay,
get in the fucking ship."
This is already better, and this is just getting farted out on a podcast.
He goes, "Get in the ship," and she's like, "Come on." He goes, "Hold on." Raises his X-Wing out of the water, jumps into his X-Wing. As he's flying there, all the Force ghosts are coming back to him. They're on the outside of the cockpit, free floating in space. Anakin's like, "What the fuck? They killed your sister? Burn them all down." And then Luke goes on a rampage, right? Within the first 10 minutes, he finds Snoke, and Snoke does some weird fucking jujitsu kind of stance with his gold, his pinky ring turns into a black lightsaber, right? And he's getting ready to square off with Luke, and Luke goes, "Cool show." Kills him right there, just twists his head off.
Yeah.
And then he's so mad that his sister got killed, he's hunting Ben Solo down. Ben Solo flees in terror, and Luke's coming after him. All these people are trying to stop him, but you killed Luke's sister, and he's fucking had enough of this world. And so he just starts snapping his fingers. People's heads are blowing up, dicks flying out of their pants.
This is it. Make it happen.
And they keep going. So then the Resistance comes all about trying to stop Luke. Because in his effort to kill
kind of
Ben
on the dark
Solo,
side at this point, he's allowed anger to influence his actions.
He's got that Anakin blood.
Oh man, he's just got to avoid volcano planets.
He's
got to avoid volcano planets.
They try to get in front of Luke. They try to stop him, but Luke is such on a rage right now. Yeah. He's drinking Star Wars cocktails and fucking sending out drunk messages. Next thing he does, he kills Finn. He just fucking, they're trying to plead with him to stop. He pulls out his lightsaber.
Everybody's got to pay.
Cuts him in half diagonally. And he's still alive, his half of the body.
Everybody's got to pay.
And he's like, "Man, Troy, what the fuck is that all about?" And Luke just pops his head.
Get rid of him.
Dude,
I like it.
And then
That's already better.
The third movie,
At least it's different.
How do we stop Luke Skywalker?
The most powerful Jedi.
He's given into his rage.
Yeah. And now, because he's so strong, he's actually a force to be reckoned with.
And you call the third one the Force sleeps.
Force goes to bed.
The Force has had enough.
Yeah, dude. I thought about that after I was like ruined by The Last Jedi. I was like, man, I should just in my free time write a better 3-act outline, and it would not be hard.
I'll buy some toys and we'll make a whole robot chicken.
You got the green screen. We'll do a whole
instead of the fucking.
It could be done.
I don't want to do the Force. This kid got messed up.
Did you ever watch those? If the prequels were good videos on YouTube. These guys rewrote 1, 2, and 3 and made them good movies by using the characters that were already established.
I mean, since I have all these computers now that can edit video.
Yeah. I
want to make my own Star Wars cuts.
Do it.
So, I want to take Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, or Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, and just condense it down to one movie.
Right.
The whole Padme, Anakin, fucking finger fuck thing, out of here.
No, dude. You should leave. It's staying in.
Out.
Nuh-uh.
Out.
Nah, dude.
Jar Jar Binks.
They need butterfly kisses. We need butterfly kiss scenes with them.
Did you see that video they did where they reimagined Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting Vader on the Death Star?
Yeah. And made it way more badass instead of two old men with spina bifida.
And the fucking
gently
tink,
tapping
tink,
their yeah.
tink. And then in the one shot, Vader's lightsaber's not even red; it's just white.
Yeah.
I want to do a re-edit because I have a copy of the original movie from the theatrical release in 4K. It got restored. It's pirate only, and I want to add that scene into it.
Yeah.
And then that's what it is.
Well, I was talking to my cousin Michael about getting the despecialized editions. Because, you know, these dudes, like, bent over backwards to take all the scenes from the Blu-ray that had none of the George Lucas, you know, the
extra,
the added CGI monsters. And then what the scenes where they did have the added stuff they took from the Laserdisc, which was unedited. I think the last copy that you could get of the unedited trilogy was the Laserdisc.
They had DVDs where the bonus features were the original theatrical releases. I have Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
They're better movies. They flow better, dude.
They're
without
better,
the special stuff. You don't.
The problem is it's DVD though, and it's not Blu-ray. So like when you watch it on Blu-ray,
it doesn't look as good.
It's like you have this huge screen and it's in its own little box.
I know, but. Those movies, I forget who it was, but it might have been the Red Letter Media guys who were saying, like, this is a slap in the face to remake the movies and then not release the original cuts. It's a slap in the face to the people who worked on the original movies. Because the version of A New Hope we have now is not the version that won the Academy Award for Best Editing.
Ron has the Laserdiscs.
That's amazing.
So if we get the Laserdisc player... I have all the video recording.
The smallest Laserdisc player is 2 stories tall. Have you seen those things? A Laserdisc is this big.
They're huge. We looked online the other day. I think you can get one for like $175, $200. Yeah. So we should maybe we should crowdfund that.
I think they need to go bigger. The next thing they gotta have 3 foot.
Hey, have you seen my extra beach ball edition?
You just have to gently set it down, just slide it in,
and eventually what it is. You end up buying a box, and it's like this huge crate, like from Jurassic Park.
Yeah. And
you open it up, and it's all Chinese kids dressed up as the characters. And you go, all right, do it, and they just start acting out the movie.
That's how rich people watch movies.
That's the box edition.
They have the actors come to their house and replay the scenes, and they're like on their phone, like not even.
Like, oh, that's so unrealistic.
Yeah. Oh, cool, right? I get it. He dies, and they really kill the guy. So he's dead.
We're gonna see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm not psyched about it. I don't fault anybody who is. You know what I'm saying? If you like it, more power to you. Enjoy it, have a good time. But for me personally, dude, like I don't have kids right now. If I had kids, I'd take them. You know, I go, hey kids, go watch the movie. But for me personally, dude, I'm checked out, man. They fucked me over, dude.
I would like to see a mature Logan style rated comic book.
Of Star Wars universe.
Even just focused on the Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
Since they're coming back now, they've been featured in the trailers.
Yeah.
That was such a stupid thing. First of all, when Admiral, the blue-haired bitch or purple-haired bitch, whenever she flew her ship into the other ship, why you didn't make that Admiral Akbar doing that makes you the biggest
because
idiot in the
planet. There are things that they did in that movie that were kind of agenda-based.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely pitching messages.
That whole character was there to serve.
When you see a movie that makes these plotline decisions, and then you see the executive producer of the IP wearing a T-shirt that says "The Force is female," it's like, okay,
it's in service of this.
And another thing is, it's weird that in movies where they do stuff that ties into the other movies, people will complain, oh, it's all this fan service. There's too much fan service. It's like, dude, you don't go to a Nine Inch Nails concert and expect them not to do close. Like
they're going to play the stuff you came to see.
Yeah, because that's why you're a fan of them.
Yeah, you're a fan of the good art that they produced.
Like, there's a lot of fan service. Well, I'd hope so, because that's a big fan base.
Yeah. I am a fan. Service. You know, right. Why do you think I'm giving you my money?
It's like, was there a lot of fan service? No, in Last Jedi, they just microwaved a turkey for 2 hours.
It shook me, dude. It shook me. I remember walking out of the theater at 10 a.m. when I saw that 10 a.m. show, and I left, and I was just like,
I think you called me.
I called
right
everybody.
afterwards. You were like,
I
"This
had
is terrible."
I had like a traumatic experience.
I can't believe this happened.
It shook me so badly that if I think about times in my life where I've like changed, because if you're doing it right, you're growing all the time.
Right.
That was something that prompted
Defining
growth. That prompted growth. That's how bad it was. Is it prompted me to reevaluate my life and my degree of fandom for certain things. And it caused me to reassess it, and then shortly after that, I lost 80 pounds, started going to the gym. This was the last
Well,
day.
and
Thank you, Ryan Johnson.
At the same time, like, man, there has been a lot of disappointment with different.
It's almost an unwinnable game, though. You know that.
It is.
Could they? And I thought about that. Could they hypothetically make a movie that we all love? No, not a fucking chance. There's no way they could make a movie now.
I mean, there's so many movies out. You could have stolen another movie's script.
Well, I will say this. Hold on. They did pull it off with Endgame, though.
They did, but at the same
Endgame
time,
seemed to be universally loved.
The problem with Endgame, you'll never reach that height again.
Well, and they're going to try. So what they're going to do
everything.
is they're going to try. They're going to try to make another 20 movies that peak out with Secret Wars or wherever direction they're going to go in.
Yeah, man. See,
and it will not be the same. It will not be the same, dude.
And then even in Endgame, it's like you have this huge battlefield with all these people fighting, and somehow all the women are within 6 feet of each other.
And thank God, because it really served for a great
So
shot.
they can
Thank God, dude.
Like
These kick-ass women.
God.
Yeah, she's got friends. Lipstick. Like.
Or did you see? I almost said Miss Marvel, but Captain Marvel.
Oh God, dude. So that's back when old Chuck worked at the theater.
Yeah.
And I could see any movie for free any afternoon. I'd go see every movie. And I remember, so I didn't pay for Captain Marvel. I did not give them $1. Okay. Right? I remember being in the theater, just sitting there, and there's like maybe one other person in this corner, and I just stopped watching the movie entirely. I just got the phone, and I was just living in the theater. I was doing my living room at the theater, just living my life. And occasionally I'd look up and be like, that was loud. Like, that was loud. That was uncalled for while I'm tweeting. Like, why would they be so... It was really bad, and it was embarrassing. But it's a rare miss. They do a pretty good job at those Marvel movies, man. Kevin Feige, like, they got a tight ship, and for the most part, they do a pretty good job for what they do. But I'm with you in that sense that... we grew up with Iron Man. We grew up with Captain America. And so, of course, we're going to follow through to the end, and we're all going to go see this movie. And they gave us a proper dismount, right? But now I'm done.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm done.
Endgame ended my interest in Marvel. There's another Doctor Strange movie coming out that I'm interested in.
And it'll probably be visually cool, and it'll probably be a pretty good story. But here's the thing. I cannot for the life of me at this point in my life, and it might be because I'm too old. I don't know what it is. But I can't even think of a movie hypothetically that Hollywood could produce that would make me be like, oh, shit, it's going to go down in this movie. Like, they've already ruined Star Wars. Star Wars is ruined. And they already did Lord of the Rings. What could they do? There's nothing. There's nothing.
And Marvel R-rated movie. Or, I mean, X-Men
yeah, and
Deadpool
I might go see that movie, but am I going to be hype? You know what I'm saying? Is it going to be like that feeling you got when you go see Endgame? Yeah. After that summer of seeing Infinity War and then getting that Endgame. Because you remember leaving Infinity War going like, I don't feel good. That was not a feel good movie. This was nobody was happier.
I know they're going to come back, but I just don't know how they're going to do it.
But I feel bad. I feel gross. Like, I feel like, that was not a good movie. I didn't get the satisfying feeling that you usually get from a well-made movie. Even though it was but that's what it was intended to do. I want to make you feel like crap. So that when they bring you out, you go... And they did a great job. They pulled it off. Now, if you watch Endgame and you really pay attention to really what's going on, just like how with Last Jedi, where you're like, wait a minute, hold on. What's really going? Like, what did you just tell me you're doing? What? Stop! No, repeat what you just said. Like, because this doesn't make any sense. The Endgame is completely fast and loose with the rules on the time travel, but I'm willing to forgive them because it's still put together enough. You know what I'm saying? Like. And you can obviously tell the movie was made with an incredible amount of care for the characters.
Yeah.
They did service to the characters that they put on there.
They 100% did.
And I enjoy it.
And I think that's what's so hard is like The Walking Dead comic book series ended.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones ended.
Yeah.
Marvel, for all intents and purposes,
It's
for
over.
me,
It's
ended.
Yeah.
Star Wars is ending. It's just kind of like... Even Breaking Bad. Thought it was over. Came back. Little dash of spice.
Let me tell you something about money, dude. Let me tell you something about Hollywood and the love of money.
Now it's like...
Oh, my God.
I like, what am I amped to see? Like, what's really amazing about the whole Marvel thing is how bad DC keeps fucking... DC...
They're
The only time they can make a good movie is when they're taking their comic book superheroes and putting them in real life characters in real life situations.
the only thing they could do at this point with DC is scrap it and start over.
Yeah. But I mean...
Fresh. And I'm talking...
That means we have to see Batman's parents get killed for a 10th time.
Great. I didn't even like him to begin with. I didn't even like him to begin with. They need to scrap it all. They need to throw it all away. First of all, they really ought to not expand on the Joker. That needs to be a standalone work on its own. But Hollywood and money,
dude,
they're gonna make another one.
They can't fuck with the Joker's. I thought at the end of the Joker, they should have had him be in that car, get into a car accident. He
get
gets
pulled out and then end it there.
And then you see cuts on the side of his mouth.
Yeah.
Inferring it could have turned into the Dark Knight Joker. Like, you don't have to be like super deep with it, but
So you could have done that, and that actually.
The Joker
I
is
get
the movie
why
version of Colonel Sanders, where someone new was playing him all the fucking time.
I get why they did the ending the way they did, where it's in the hospital, because now it's like, did any of that even happen?
It's a great excuse for deniable causability or whatever.
Exactly. You go, but did it all really happen?
Yeah.
You know, but I would have been fine with them just ending it at like, the city's on fire, he does the smile, and then boom, we're done. We're done. The whole city might fall. You know what I'm saying? We don't know.
Right.
We don't know.
Why not?
But I thought the Joker movie was all right. I liked it. You know what I'm saying? It was good, but it's not enough to save DC. They still got to scrap everything.
I mean, I liked it. I thought it was cool. I'll never watch that thing again, though.
It's really intense, dude.
was a
And
lot
I
to sit through.
remember when I first saw it, I was like, this movie might cause harm to society because of how
I thought the same thing.
I was like, dude, here's the thing. There's so many people.
Don't
now.
take your medication. Your
Yeah,
therapist's
dude.
lying to you.
There's so
Get
many.
a gun and just kill anyone that fucks with you.
There's so many people today who are just hanging on by a thread
and need a hero.
Yeah,
Not even hero, but they need a role model
there are people
because they can't function in their own lives.
they're just disenfranchised from all society,
They need
and they
to
don't
be
feel like
led
they have
by
any.
somebody.
They don't feel like they have any place
Yeah.
in society. And then you give them a piece of work like this, but they're like, oh, look at how liberated he is, because that's really what they're showing you is after he commits murder for the first time.
After he kills Leno.
Not the first time when he kills the guys on the subway.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to him having what we assume is sex with what's her name, Zazie Beetz? I don't know her name.
I don't know her name.
The girl in his apartment.
Yeah.
So he kills those people, and then he has sex with her, which he doesn't really do. We know that. But in his mind, it's like his...
as he's dancing
he's
in the
losing his
bathroom.
virginity to, like,
After
insanity.
he committed murder.
Like, after the first murder, he's losing his innocence to the world, and he's committing to his... That's the beginning of his descent, and then it peaks out in this way. And I'm like, hey, maybe some things shouldn't be shown on a big screen to everybody. Don't do it, because...
That was the first movie I ever saw where I was like, does society really need this?
And
we kind of have a problem with people being disillusioned and then killing a bunch of people to fill that
when
hole.
when I talk about this kind of stuff and people are like, oh, what, you just want to censor everything? It's like, yeah. Yes, I do. I do think there are things that damage society, and you do this whole argument of like, oh, it's free speech. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, no thanks. Like, we need to go out of our way to make sure that we have a healthy, functioning society. Because what do most humans want? What do most of us want, if we boil it down across all cultures and all peoples? We want safe, predictable lives for us and our children. That's universally what we all want. Now, there are people who disagree with that and want to get in the way of that because of whatever reason, trauma, and they're lashing out at the world. And so they produce stuff that disrupts that. Anytime you're full of evil and hate, when you produce evil and hate or put it on other people, it takes it out of you for a second.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? True. Think about this. When you're in
it's an STD kind of thing.
It really is. When you're an evil person, being evil to other people takes it out of you for a little while, and it puts it on them.
Because when you succeed in that evil deed, you feel justified in doing it, and you feel vindicated.
Right.
And you feel like you're finally winning something. You don't relish in the horror and the trauma of it all.
Exactly.
It's.
Are we doing right by civilization by allowing people to...
I feel like that Joker, it's one of those things to where it's like, it's not that it doesn't need to exist, but it needs to be like a novel. Like something obscure that you got to kind of work to get to. So that way if I see that you have it, I can go, aha!
Yeah.
Call on the hotline.
So think about this though. Joker, the way they depicted violence...
It was very rewarding.
Shocking.
Which was weird.
Shocking. And it was also, the way they showed it was, to me, the most realistic.
It was incredibly realistic.
Okay, so when I'm watching a movie, it's like, yeah, Saving Private Ryan is realistic, but we're also in the context of World War II. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This is different than a mentally ill man killing an innocent person. The whole movie is him justifying his bad behavior. That's what it is. You go on this ride with him, and then people go, well, society did this to him. It's like, let's not get down this slippery slope, because we push this boundary.
It's a fine line.
We push this boundary, and now that this boundary has been pushed, right? Todd Phillips pushed this boundary. Okay, now this is the new line. Yeah. So now the guy after him goes, well, now let's push this even further.
Yeah.
Maybe let's not. Maybe let's not, and it will happen. There's going to be a new movie. And people go, oh, Taxi Driver and all this stuff. Yeah, but should we?
There wasn't as many mass shootings when those movies were released.
No, and that's a whole... dude, the reason society is so sick, there's a lot of different reasons. But one thing that's certainly not going to help is producing more avenues for people to live...
More false idols?
More ways for people to live self-destructive lives. One thing that's not going to help the situation is giving people easy access to things that are making them unhappy. Because that's the world we live in. America right now is not like a good, decent place anymore, because we are like the central... If you want to live a bad life and do fucked up shit, you come here. That's what it's becoming. And it's kind of scary, man, because we're not guaranteed a safe tomorrow. I think one of the things that frustrates me the most with people around my age is that they've lived in a safe and secure world for so long, they don't assume that shit will ever get fucked up again. Yeah. But then you look at history and you realize we're not even that far from our last revolution, where people...
the Roman Empire can burn to the ground.
Dude, that's the thing. You go, we're past all this. Dude, human beings are fucked up by their nature. History repeats itself, and it just goes in cycles. Because but fundamentally, we are ruined. We're not good people. That's what I get down. Dude, I'm telling you, man, the deeper I think about this, I go, man, that Bible is onto something, dude. It is onto something. Dude. And what is it? It's basically just a guide that says, if you boil it down, which in the simplest terms, it's like, hey, always tell the truth. Don't accept lies. And I will understand that you're fucked up, and that the only way to not be fucked up is by living a good life. These are rules how you live a good life.
You take a neighbor who has a man who has a wife, 2 kids, like the classic American dream.
Yeah.
Nicest people ever.
Yeah. Really
friendly, down to earth, good people, goes to church, community service. And then you take the state that they live in. You subtract electricity from that state for 2 weeks, they turn into cannibals.
Oh, dude, we're
shockingly
close.
Humane Society, dude, eating every dog they can get their hands on.
We are horrifyingly close to people kicking in their neighbors' doors and just killing them for their food. We're shockingly close. When the weather was really bad and snowed real bad, stuck in the house, the neighbor kid comes over and goes, "Do you guys have any rice?" Like, yeah, absolutely. Here's a bag of rice. You know what I'm saying? Then they come over. Let's say the weather's bad for 2 weeks. They come over. Do you have rice? No, we don't have any rice. All right, well, we're hungry. Do you guys have any food? It's like, then you said, now we've begun this, like...
Stand up.
Like
how many supplies do you have?
Exactly, like, how long until we start fighting over this food? Because, dude, when I run out of food, I go to Walmart and I get my food. You take that away.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Find it.
The world is there's a lot of bad shit going on in the world. There's a lot of people who are unhappy, and there are a lot of people who are lost. And as somebody who's been all fucked up before, and I know you've played the game of life, dude. It's easy to get fucked up in this world. It's easy to lose. It's easy to lose your way. Should we really be making it easier for more people to lose their way?
And well, I think there's a fine line between enjoying fantasy like Lord of the Rings, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones.
Hey, we need to be that's a part of life is being entertained. I'm not sitting here going like
that's a nice. That's a whole other thing to be like. That world's so much better than this one. I wish I lived in that one.
Like I said, dude.
Then you're like...
There's a big difference between enjoying something and entering into the state of coping. Because the state of coping is a real thing. And 95% of people, from what I can tell, and sure, they go, oh, he's wrong about the numbers. Cool. I might be. But what I see is that it really is. I know more people that are unhappy. They're living relatively normal lives, but they're unhappy, they're unfulfilled. And whatever it might be, whether it's cigarettes, booze, pot, or collecting things, or diving into whatever it is, they're still running from something. They're still running from the scary inevitable. We tapped on it a little bit about the scary great beyond, dude.
And that's why I think the only people that aren't doing that are elderly people.
Well, and you know why?
Because they just kind of hit, like, I mean, not all of them.
No, not all of them.
But that's the comfort zone to where it's like, look, most of the people I've known in my life are dead. I'm not in the best shape. I can't do a lot of the stuff that I want to do.
Right.
You know, then you get into that.
But if you have grandkids, dude,
it's my time.
The only saving grace to losing your functions and being in pain all the time is looking at your grandkids and seeing them grow into good people.
This is true.
Okay, the reason we have grandkids is to make the winter of our lives have some sun. I heard that. I didn't make that up. Somebody had said that, and I go, I'm going to say that stupid saying. They go, that's the reason we have grandkids is to have sun in the winter of our lives, and it makes perfect sense. And I knew a guy who worked at a nursing home, and he would explain to me, he goes, it's a lot of sadness in the nursing home. It's not a happy place, right?
No.
He goes, but the people who have grandkids visiting them are so full of joy in life because they know a little part of them in their experience will echo into eternity. He goes, there's a lot of people here that have no grandkids and nobody comes to visit them. And they have this haunted look on their face like they fucked up their one shot. Because I do think at some point you realize you need meaning in your life. And meaning will never come from money. It'll never come from consumerism. It only comes from real shit. Like having kids and having real relationships. Exactly. And you can't fake that, dude. You can't fake that. It was an awful day for me when I realized you can't buy love. Awful day when I realized the stuff that makes life worth living, you can't fake your way into it. You have to get it legitimately, and there's no shortcut to it either. You have to work, and it might take you a lifetime to get.
Sure.
But you have to get the real things in life, and the real things in life pretty much boils down to family, dude. That's as real as it gets. Does. It's as real as it gets. Because if you don't,
like right now in my current situation, and for people listening, like I live with my mom. I'm 35. My mom got diagnosed with leukemia. Had to go through chemotherapy. Bounced back just after one treatment. After one treatment, her blood level numbers are where they needed to be. She took an additional treatment as a precaution, and they wanted her to keep going more, and she was like, no, not until my numbers get fucked up.
Wow.
So it's great, but now I'm in this weird spot to where I pay for a lot of things around the house. I help out around the house a lot.
Yeah.
I'm an added sense of security in that if something goes wrong, we'll just talk to Steve. Steve will handle it.
Yeah.
But now as I've gone on my sober way and I've been established in a new career, and I'm financially secure in that, like, I just have to work hard and I'll make good money. And people will want me around, which will give me more opportunities to make more money. Like, so I'm not stressed really about anything. But now my life is growing, and so now there's overlapping things of life and the things that come when you have other people living with you. And so then it's like, well, I should just get out of my place. But then it's like I'm taking all that away from my mom. And so you have to live this weird balance to where it's like, I need to be here to help, but I need to be my own individual and get my own thing going. Like, what's the happy medium here? And essentially, after a lot of conversation and thought about it, the happy medium is to just ride it out with her, as long as she's mentally stable and mentally functional. Because unfortunately, when people get older, for them to deteriorate doesn't take a whole lot. Sometimes not even a lot of time.
And it can happen fast, dude.
Really fast. And so it's like, all right, stay here, save money. If you have to actually save money, you can't just go, I'm saving money, and then never save any money.
Right.
I'm in the benefit of I can physically save money, or every time I work, I have an annuity the money gets put into that I can draw money out for a down payment on a condo is what I want to do. I don't want to do a house because I don't want to fuck with the yard. I'm sick of fucking with yards.
I hate fucking with the yard.
It's the worst, man. And it always
can I tell you something? You have to fuck with your yard.
Oh, yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, there is no getting around it. That's why I want a condo. I'll pay for an association fee. I'm okay with that.
I had lunch with my cousin yesterday. He was talking. He's got 3 kids, and he's like, I think I want to go back to a condo to not have to worry about the out, because you have the stress-free life of a renter.
Yeah.
The stress-free life of a renter.
And well, with the condo, you can own everything within
you can still build
the
equity.
walls.
You can still build equity.
You just don't own anything outside of the walls.
No, but you got to pay a condo association fee.
And they take care of salting the roads, cleaning the snow,
It
cutting
is
the
a
grass.
cozy life.
But you gotta have,
yeah.
And have good
I
knees.
was just gonna say you gotta
knees.
have the worst neighbors of all time. Good luck moving into a condo without having the worst neighbors you ever met in your life. And if you were 2 buildings down, you'd be fine.
See, I believe what you need to do is you need to buy a condo that's stacked up.
Yeah.
And you need to make investments to where eventually you own the entire top floor.
Bingo.
Top floor, and then you can put up a gate to where nobody can get up to the top floor.
One of the best things you can do is own a condo, own a 4-building condo. You live in one of them, and then your rent from the 3 pays for your. That's the golden life. But then that takes a lot of work, and you got to be smart with your money, and nobody teaches you how to. Why is there not a class that teaches you how to be smart with money?
Oh, dude,
why? First of all, why is there not a class for anything that matters?
There's
nothing that matters.
Dead handcuffs.
Why? Yeah, dude. They definitely don't want you to be a happy, independent thinking, functioning member of society. Dude, we're easy to control. When we're all dumb and fucking eating slop out of the trough, we are easy to deal with. Oh, don't get me started, dude. You say, what conspiracy theories do you believe in? All of them, dude. Every last one of them.
Well, I can't get you started because I got to stop you. But we're going to see you again on Sunday.
Let's do it. We'll bag it up.
Sunday, 5 o'clock Central Time. We'll be back.
All right. Thanks, bud. It was a good time.
Thank you.